email.
Got it. Okay. I did find it. Thank you. Okay. Are we ready on that end?
We are, Commissioner.
Thank you. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for everyone joining us this evening. I do want to, before I call the meeting to order, I want to announce that due to COVID-19, some committee members, staff, and public are attending remotely via Zoom as well as on site. All participants joining by phone should mute their phones when not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please make sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak so the public that is observing knows who is speaking. This is critical, given the number of remote participants from the Kansas Attorney General. The public is allowed to participate by Zoom or submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of this meeting. The public also will have an opportunity to provide brief comments from the lobby of the municipal office building. At this time, I will now call the meeting of the Economic Development and Finance Standing Committee to order. Clerk, I would ask that you would please call roll.
Roll call. Haley,
Present.
Davis,
Here.
Townsend,
Here.
Stites,
Here.
McKiernan,
Here.
Burroughs.
Here. Thank you, committee. And it's my understanding we have no revisions to the agenda this evening. So with that, we'll move right into the minutes, and I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from October 11th.
McKiernan, District 2, move to approve as submitted.
Townsend, District 1, second.
Thank you, commissioners. A motion has been made and a second. I would ask clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Haley,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Stites,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Burroughs.
Aye. Thank you,
Motion
committee.
carries.
I'm pleased to see that we have a full committee this evening. So we have a short agenda this evening. Item number 1 will be amending the master equipment lease purchase agreement with the Bank of America Public Capital Corporation. That takes us to the very first item, which is the resolution. And with that, I'll ask Ms. Johnson, Debbie, to please make her comments.
Thank you, Commissioner. Debbie Johnson, Deputy Chief Financial Officer. I've got just a short presentation here, so I'm going to share my screen. If you'd let me know if everyone could see that.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So we'll just start. Yes, the resolution tonight is requesting to authorize an amendment to our current master equipment lease purchase agreement for 2022. I do know that we have some new commissioners on the committee, so I thought I would just give a little background information on the master lease agreement. The lease agreement is the financing tool that we use to finance all of our capital equipment needs. The packet that you received tonight includes the packet that you received includes the resolution to amend the current agreement. It also includes a list of the equipment that has been approved by the commission, and it also has the amendment that extends the agreement through the end of this year. So just some background information. The agreement is with Bank of America Public Capital Corp. We did sign a new agreement in 2021. The original term of that agreement went through December 31st of 2021, and then the contract allows for several one-year optional amendments. And so that's what we are doing. We are bringing forth the amendment for 2022, which would extend the lease agreement through December 31st of 2022. Lease schedules, our terms can range anywhere from 3 to 10 years. However, I will say that we have gotten away from the 3-year term. A lot of times when we've had equipment that's has a life of 3 years, when we get at lease finance, a lot of times we find that the useful life sometimes For instance, if it was a patrol vehicle, it may not, the useful life may not actually, we may not make it to 3 years on some of those vehicles if they're used a lot. So we have, we don't have as many 3-year terms as we did, but we do issue 5, 7, and 10-year leases. The interest rate, there's a formula defined in the agreement, and the rate is set approximately 1 week before the lease schedule closes. And I did, just for reference, go ahead and list out the 2021 rates that we got. We did a 5-year, a 7-year, and a 10-year, with the rates ranging anywhere from 1.6% to 2.04%. In this year's amendment, we did include the equipment list. All equipment that's included is in the CMIP, and it was approved by the UG Commission. The principal amount is $7.6 million, and I've broken out the different types of vehicles that are included in there, and that list is included in your I believe it's on page 3 of the packet. It's after the resolution that does list out all the different types of equipment that we are looking at. So there were fire vehicles, street vehicles and equipment, parks equipment, and some transit vehicles. And the amendment is also included, which extends this agreement through the end of December of 2022. So the action tonight would be that we would request approval of the resolution to extend the master lease agreement to December 31st, 2022.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And committee, if you notice, the fire apparatus that we have on lease is our most expensive items, as you can see by the documentation, which makes up a majority of that, but they are leased for the full 10 years. Everything else is between 7 and 5 years lease. And this is something that we do every year for those commissioners that are new. I believe with the fire equipment, we have found it to be more cost effective. The rates are very satisfactory. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that we may have to the committee. Let me get to my participants here. I see no hands at this time. Debbie, can you take your
Oh, stop
yeah.
sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Now there.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's all right. Makes it easier for me to see who's maybe raising a hand. I see no hands raised by the commission. At this time, I'll ask if there was any public comments.
We did not receive any.
Okay, hearing none. One last call for any questions from the commission? Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion. This is an action item.
McKiernan, District 2, move to approve as submitted.
Townsend, District 1, second the motion.
Committee, we do have a motion and a second. With that, I'd ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Roll call.
Return. Aye.
Thank you. Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Stites,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Burroughs.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 2, and I'm going to ask for some assistance here. I do know that was a 4-part prior to this evening's meeting, but I believe it has been broke down to just one, and I believe it's the last item is the consideration for approval to revise the 2021-22 budgets of the Kansas Avenue Fire Maintenance Facility Project. And with that, I do have, I believe, Kathleen Von Atchen and Deputy Fire Chief Jack Andrade are here to present. So please, either one of you, please present.
Thank you. I'd like to share my screen. We have a very short 4-slide presentation, and the representatives from the fire department are here to cover some of these slides. So this is a proposed budget revision for 2021 and 2022, and it regards the fire department's quartermaster project. And so I'm going to let the fire department talk about the quartermaster project and in more detail here. And then there is a slide outlining the details of the budget revision that's proposed. So take it away, fire department.
Good evening. I'm Brent Smith. I'm Assistant Chief of Support Services. I'll be discussing this here. So this is our third phase of our maintenance facility. Phase one was to get it operating as a maintenance shop. Phase two was the offices and locker room area. Phase three is what we call the quartermaster. So what the quartermaster is essentially it's a place for us to store and organize all of our equipment. So out of there, we house all of our uniforms for all 440 firefighters, our bunker gear, all of our equipment that we utilize for fighting fire, whether it be nozzles and hoses and everything of that nature. Another key element of the quartermaster is what we have is a clean room for our self-contained breathing apparatus, which allows us to follow the NFPA standards and OSHA standards to maintain all of our self-contained breathing apparatuses for all of our fire testing. Allows us to do fit testing to make sure that all of our firefighters are wearing the appropriate size mask. So ultimately, it's a big area in order to store all of our items that we have out there. It allows us to be much more organized and fluid. Allows us to kind of do a little bit of an analysis of all of our equipment on how long it lasts, and just ultimately helps us control our inventory a little bit better. This is the third phase, as we mentioned. We estimate this to be about a $1 million project. We're just finalizing kind of the touches with our architect, and as everybody knows, it's very building construction today is very fluid, and the prices change quite frequently. So the next phase would be once we finish this up with the design aspect, would be to take it out to a construction bid, and that would give us a better understanding. Until we have that, it's really tough to have a concrete number, but we anticipate it to be roughly about $1 million to construct this, which will bring us to our next slide. And just kind of a breakdown of how we got here. We've tried to been responsible with our operating cost. So we've been very strategic in our spending, trying to kind of save up our funding in order to get to this point. So we were able to save around $96,000 in the year 2020, and we amended that into the 2021 budget. And then you can see we have our city general fund, our dedicated sales tax. We're able to again use the strategic spending in order to save some money. Additionally, since we lack the adequate space in order to actually appropriately store the equipment, a lot of that stuff, we couldn't spend the money because we didn't have any place to put that clothing, which means that we have to pretty much, when our firefighters need stuff, we have to order it and we have to wait for it to come in versus having it on stock, which, as everybody knows, that's very difficult these days, especially when some of that equipment is tailored to our firefighters. It's just the exact size that keeps them safe inside of fighting a structure fire. So between that and just being very careful with our spending dollars, we've been able to save all the funding you see there. Essentially, at this point, we're asking just for a budget revision in order to bring all that money into 2022, and then we're hoping to find use that and plus our current operating dollars in order to try to hopefully finalize this project. That's the nuts and bolts of this. I'll open up to everybody that has any questions.
Committee, any questions? Just looking to see. Bear with me, committee. I'm trying to get my participants. I do see a hand. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, are there any, Commissioner Davis, District 8, are there any ongoing costs that you all can predict for this endeavor?
ongoing costs as far as operating the quartermaster afterwards?
Yes.
No, there really won't be any, very much, if anything at all. I mean, it'd be minimal at best, because the quartermaster is actually, it's a structure inside of a structure. So at 5440 Kansas, we have a big, almost looks like a warehouse. And so we're going to construct this inside that warehouse. So it'll be out of the elements. There's really no, very few, there's electrical and, lights and stuff like that, and a little bit of an HVAC. But overall, it'd be very minimal.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. Good evening, Captain Smith. Either you or CFO Madam Bonacci can answer this. My basic question is, are we talking about additional funds beyond what was allocated, or simply shifting money from one pot to this fund from one year to another?
That's correct. Yep, it's shifting existing budget from the respective city general fund and dedicated sales tax fund into the cash funded capital project fund 971. And then once that shift happens, then rolling forward, capital project funding rolls forward anyway. So once it's shifted up to the capital project fund, then they'll be able to spend it in 2022.
Okay. Well, in the shifting that you mentioned, were these funds already allocated in some way for use by the fire department, though?
That's correct. So the budget
Okay.
that was in the operating lines for uniform allowance and unspent annual maintenance in the dedicated sales tax fund, that budget would then move from those operating lines into the transfer line. And then then we'd use that transfer line to move the money out of those 110 and 212 into the 971.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Clerk, I'll ask, is there any public comment?
We received no comment.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, I just want to say thank you for the time you gave me the other day when I came down to view the facility. And I can share with you, commission members, that they are in need of this quartermaster area. I'll call it a large storeroom to ensure that the integrity of the equipment is dust-free and kept in a safe manner that is conducive to the integrity of the equipment. And I think it's extremely important that we provide them the opportunity to do so. And I have no objections to advancing this. So at this, I'll ask for a motion.
Commissioner, we have a hand up.
I'm sorry. Oh, Commissioner Townsend. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
No problem. Commissioner Townsend, District 1, move to approve.
Stites, District 7, second.
We do have a motion and a second. I'll ask the clerk, please call roll.
Roll call. Haley,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Stites,
Aye.
McKiernan,
Aye.
Burroughs.
Aye. Thank you, committee. I appreciate the expediency in which we did our homework this evening, because that does conclude our meeting for the evening. And thank you for your attendance. We are now adjourned, and I will at this time move on to the neighborhood and community development and our chairman, Commissioner Brian McKiernan.
Thank you, Commissioner Burroughs. Before I call this meeting to order, I want to announce that due to COVID-19, some committee members, staff, and the public are attending remotely via Zoom, as well as some on site. All participants joining by phone or by Zoom should mute their devices when they are not speaking to avoid background noise. During the meeting, please be sure that you announce yourself by name and title every time you speak, so the public that is observing knows who is speaking. This is critical given the number of remote participants and is current guidance from the Kansas Attorney General. The public is allowed to participate by Zoom or submit comments by email prior to the meeting, and those comments will be included in the record of the meeting. The public will also have an opportunity to provide brief comments from the lobby of the municipal office building. With that said, we'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Neighborhood and Community Development Standing Committee. I'd ask for roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Townsend,
Here.
Burroughs,
Here.
McKiernan.
Here. Thank you so much. That takes us to our first item of, no, I'm sorry. It takes us to agenda revisions. So what we know over time is that agenda building is an art and not a science. When the administrator's office scheduled a meeting for tonight at 7 o'clock, we wanted to make sure that we had concluded all of our committee business promptly so that we could begin that meeting at 7 o'clock. As I looked at the agenda with Commissioner Burroughs and with the administrator's office, we have made the decision, and you should have all gotten the blue sheet this afternoon, to push back item number 1, the ordinance for the adoption of proposed building and fire code updates, to next month's meeting. And I apologize because I see some in the attendees list who I know are here specifically for that item. And because we just issued the blue sheet today, you did not get advance notice of that. We wanted to allow enough time for discussion of this item before we took any action on it. Commissioner Davis had asked Mr. Talkin if he could kind of prepare a list of the pros and cons of going with an amended versus an unamended code and how that would play out for different constituencies. And we didn't want to constrain that discussion. So as we looked at the number of agenda items in the land bank, we decided that our best course of action was to push that back until our March meeting. And so I do apologize if you are here for that item. It has been moved to next month's meeting. And that will then take us to our first item of business, which is approval of our standing committee minutes from our meeting of October 11th, 2021. Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Townsend, District 1, move to approve as submitted.
Commissioner Burroughs.
Second, Commissioner Burroughs, at large, District 2.
Thank you so much. There's been a motion and a second to approve as submitted. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites,
Stites District 7. Have a question. I think I have to abstain because I was not a commissioner at the time. Can I approve? And I think I made a mistake on our last meeting that I was not a commissioner on the October 11th meetings. So I don't think
I as
I'm
well did that.
approve. I don't think I'm able to approve, so I abstain.
Commissioner, this is Misty Brown, UG Legal. Even though you were not a commissioner at the time, you would not need to abstain from the vote. I mean, if you believe there's some reason that they shouldn't pass, you could say no, but I recognize the idiosyncrasies of that, but you could still vote on it. In fact, we still will need 4 folks to vote on it to approve the meeting minutes.
Well, absolutely. If you give me your blessing, then I will move to approve.
All right, so we can take our roll call, please.
yes. Roll call. Stites,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burroughs,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you so much. That takes us to item number 2, which is land bank option applications. And we do have a number of applications, and we want to make sure that we have enough time to get through all of these. So I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Judd Knapp, who is our land bank manager.
Thank you, commissioners. So for today's agenda, we have 2 single-family homes, 10 multifamily units, 2 commercials, and 2 property transfers for a grand total of 16 today. We'll start out with our single-family homes. The first one is the Village Initiative at 2712 Spring Avenue to 2718 Spring Avenue. There's 4 lots there, and they plan to build 2 homes on it. This project does meet the zoning of R1B. The Village Initiative is a re-entry program for returning citizens. This application was originally presented on November 8th at the standing committee, but it was held because a community meeting was requested. That meeting did happen on December 11th. The 2 main points that were covered in that meeting were are sex offenders, will they be allowed to be in the home? The answer is no. And then the transitional houses near schools, that's when selected a new location away from the school. So from the Land Bank Advisory Board and from Randy George, they said that the meeting went very well and all the concerns were addressed. This is a plan for a 5-bedroom home. The staff comment on that is 6+ unrelated people living in a home requires a special use permit. So because this is 5 bedrooms and not 6, it does not require a special use permit. The additional staff comment was this will require a narrow lot design guideline review because the lot is under 50 feet. This project does meet the Northeast area master plans for single family area. Commissioner, that would conclude this item.
Commissioner McKiernan, you're muted.
Son of a gun, so I am. What do you know? Technology is going to make our lives easier if only we know how to use it. So thank you, Mr. Knapp. For those of you who may not have attended a land bank session before, very often we break up a single item into the relevant chunks. And in this case, the Village Initiative is a chunk that can be considered separately from all the others, and we will take action on it in a moment if the committee chooses. But first, I'll recognize Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. I would like to thank the Village Initiative. Mr. Randy George is the director for all the efforts he's done over the last, well, since my term, 8 to 9 years, to ease the transition of people who are coming from situations of incarceration back into the community. And I appreciate his willingness to participate in a meeting so that the immediate community surrounding the proposed land bank transition properties, the community could be better informed. Anyone who was around that area or anyone from anywhere who wanted to come. Related to that, I'd like to thank Reverend David Lee, the pastors, officers, and members of Guiding Star Missionary Baptist Church, who opens its doors and hosted the December 11th meeting. As you've heard Mr. Judd enumerate several of the key concerns about the project that was proposed. Will there be persons who have had history of sex offenses? No. They being Village Initiative, reduced their request from the number of lots that would have yielded 3 houses to 2, which I personally think was a good thing to see how these will go. Ask questions about who would take care of the properties, how many years. This was billed as transitional home living. So it was also discussed that when inhabitants go in, they will be given a amount of time specific. I think Mr. George had mentioned a year to become acclimated, find permanent housing, find jobs, etc. And that's the goal of the Village Initiative. So I wish to thank all those parties, Village Initiative, pastor, officer, and members of Guiding Star Missionary Baptist Church for their involvement, and all of the members from the community who came, had their questions answered. And with that, I would make a motion to approve the options here as submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have that motion. We'll hold that for just 1 second. I'll recognize Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, I won't hold this up, but I just wanted to really echo that. I did have a chance to visit with Mr. George and Chanel and kind of meet some of their staff and hear about the great work that they do. And I was very much impressed. One of the questions that I asked was, did they talk to the community about this development? And they said yes, and they heard those concerns and made those adjustments. As we as a community continue to deal with this issue of houselessness, I think one of the things that this project does is it addresses returning citizens or formerly incarcerated citizens, which also does feed into our houseless problem here in Wyandotte County. And so kudos to them for doing the work. This is how it should be done, right? Developers partnering with community members, and I second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. Does any other member of the committee have comments or questions regarding this item? Commissioner Burroughs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Burroughs, at-large District 2. The Village Initiative is a very good program. If I would challenge all the commissioners to stop by and see Mr. George and the good work that he does in the community. And if we were to have this before us this evening without community input, it may raise some concerns. But the fact that they have reached out to the community and received that support, kudos to them. And I am in support of the project, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I will say too that I am particularly interested in projects that are transitional in nature, that attempt to take a finite span of time and hopefully impart a skill set that will allow people to transition out of that environment into an independent living situation. I'd ask the clerk if we received any comment from the public regarding this item.
The clerk's office did not receive any comment.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone here in attendance, either virtually or in person, who would like to offer public comment on this item? I do not see any hands virtually. And so with a motion and a second to approve as submitted, roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Townsend?
Aye.
Burroughs?
Aye.
McKiernan?
Aye. Thank you, committee, and thank you to the Village Initiative. Mr. Knapp.
Thank you, Commissioner. For the next two, B1 and 2, I'll present them together. So the first one is to use 3 land bank lots and 1 lot that the applicant already owns to build 3 duplexes. It meets the zoning of RP5. It's for a 2-bed, 1 bath, and 1 laundry unit. The staff comment was requires a narrow lot design guideline review. It is in the Northeast Area Master Plan as a lower medium density residential, so it does meet the building types allowed in that area. And the next application B2 is for 2 duplexes on 3 lots at 2510 through 2500 North 10th Street. It does meet the zoning for RP5. These are 3-bed, 2.5 bath units. Staff comments on this one was it would require an environs review. That's because it's in the historical environment of the Theodore Schaefer residence. And it is in the Northeast Area Master Plan as lower medium density residential, so that does meet the building types for that zone. That concludes items B1 and 2.
Thank you. Committee, we have 2 different developers with 2 different locations, but duplexes at each location. Does any member of the committee have comments or questions for Mr. Knapp about these applications? I don't see any hands from the committee at the moment. However, I do see that Ms. Beverly Easterwood has raised her hand among the attendees. And as a representative of the neighborhood, I would recognize Ms. Easterwood to offer public comment.
Hello.
There we go. Thank
Hi.
you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am Beverly Easterwood, President, Douglas Sumner Neighborhood Association. And we have not spoken with the developer of the lots on New Jersey. I don't know their level of experience. That area is, as Mr. Knapp has indicated, is zoned for an allowable use. However, we would like a little bit more information in terms of the design of the units. Will they look like the picture that was submitted with the application? And what is the estimated timeline on this?
Thank you for those comments and questions, Ms. Easterwood. I don't know if Mr. Knapp has any further information that would be valuable.
I do have the estimated timeline. They plan to start this year and be completed by 2023. The applicant was not able to be here tonight. He had a previous engagement, so he's not available for comment tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. I would ask if any member of the committee has any comments or questions that we might be able to address here. Commissioner Townsend?
Commissioner Townsend, District 1. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on Ms. Easterwood's comment, just for clarity, we've got submission or application by Mr. Rourke. Those are the New Jersey duplexes, and Mr. Porfiero, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that name, on 10th Street. So is Ms. Easterwood asking for time to talk to both of the developers? Later, would delaying this for 1 month? I understand one or the other of these developers is not available for a consult tonight. So I'm trying to get clear. If so, I would just move that we set back both of these item B1 and B2 to the agenda next month to allow for the neighborhood group to have their questions more specifically answered.
Commissioner Townsend, I was addressing my comments specifically in reference to the Samuel Rourke property, but I do believe that Groundworks Neighborhood Revitalization Group would like to pursue more questions in reference to all applications that are being submitted for consideration in the Northeast area. So that would include the 10th Street location as well.
Okay.
So I appreciate your motion to push this back another month.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Easterwood. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Knapp, is Northeast NRG a routine participant in the advisory board meetings? So have they already seen these two applications?
Yes, Commissioner. They are members of our advisory board, and they did attend our virtual meeting we had, and they were included on all the emails with this presentation in it, and they did not provide any comments for these two.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Stites.
Stites District 7. Regarding Ms. Easterwood's statement there, is it a lack of, have you tried to reach them and they haven't got back with you? Or is it just time, need a little more time to reach out to them? Because if they haven't reached back out to you after attempts, that's a different story. I'd like to know.
No, I haven't attempted to reach Mr. Rourke. I'm trying to remember if I had his contact information. I remember asking Mr. Knapp about about his experience or what organization he was with, and he did answer my question, but I have not had any communication with the developer at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I've been scanning the attendees list and I don't see either Mr. Rourke or Mr. Porfirio signed in tonight. Just as an aside, I certainly would recommend that anyone who has an option application submitted for consideration should attend our neighborhood and community development meeting to be available in case questions like this do come up. At this point, we do have a motion from Commissioner Townsend to hold B1 and B2 until next month's meeting to allow more time for discussion between all parties. Is there a second for that motion?
Commissioner Davis, District 8, second.
So we have a motion and a second to hold B1 and B2 until next month's meeting so that everyone can discuss. Any other comments or questions from members of the committee? Commissioner Davis.
I do have one. So is there an expectation that we're communicating to developers that, we want communication with neighborhood groups when, going through these option agreements? Like, is that communicated on, the front end to them?
And I'll let Mr. Knapp address this, but I can respond. Certainly, it is an expectation that we have communicated. And we've had several discussions over the past year or so about being more explicit about the need to reach out to neighborhood groups and neighbors, if nothing else, than to build relationships, but specifically to address aspects of the project. Mr. Knapp or Ms. Carter?
Yeah, I could take that one. What we do is we send out like a month in advance to the Land Bank Advisory Board staff and to any neighborhood groups that a project falls in. And when we talk to contractors or developers with these projects, we do encourage them to talk to the neighborhood groups. So we do that.
Gotcha. I guess maybe, again, at another time, right, it would be good to have that discussion on how to make it more explicit or mandatory, right? That way we're not sending things back and forth, but it's kind of, you shouldn't even get to us without talking to, our constituents, because our constituents are the reason why we're here. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. You have a point very well taken there. I would ask the clerk if there was any correspondence, public comment received regarding items B1 or B2.
There were no comments received.
And then I'd ask if there's any other person in attendance tonight who would like to offer public comment on B1 or B2. Seeing no hands raised, we do have a motion and a second to hold for 1 month. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Townsend?
Aye.
Burroughs?
Aye.
McKiernan?
Aye. Thank you, committee. That takes us to item B3, Mr. Knapp.
All right, so item B3 is at 2416 South 51st Street. It's for a senior living project that requires 2 access points. They're going to have 1 access point off Gibbs, and if this, they're hoping to use the land bank lot to get access to 51st Street as their second access point. Now 2416 has the fire station in the parcel, and since we are decommissioning that fire station to build a new one, the plan kind of changed to convert that into a community center, and Public Works would like the access point to be in line with the road off 51st Street, the Matney Road. This item was held at the January 3rd Standing Committee meeting and to wait for Commission approval. Since then, this project was approved. That completes my presentation, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. If you could just explain again about holding for approval and this project has been approved.
Yes, the senior living project has been approved.
And
I think it was
I
approved
have to
this month.
confess, I don't remember. Was that approval contingent upon getting a second access route?
I'm told that that's why they needed that. They needed the land bank property for their second access point.
Yeah, this is Catherine Carter, Director of Economic Development. They, per the fire marshal, they will need a second access point. And so, yes, it was approved, but part of the staff comments would be that they would continue with this plan. They knew that it was before the Neighborhood and Community Development Committee, and so they're looking for that second entrance.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Appreciate that. I'll recognize Commissioner Burroughs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Burroughs, at large District 2. Judd, in the initial proposal that was set to go on that property was some townhomes and apartments, and there was a retention pond that was slated to go in right behind 2416. Actually, I think there was just to be a little bit of a easement between the two. Is that retention pond still proposed to be in that development?
I can take this again. This is Catherine Carter. I am actually not sure, but Conrad Miller, who is part of the development team, is on the line and could probably answer any questions about the specific. We in Land Bank didn't look specifically at the interior of the property, but I know that Conrad could answer that if you would like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Mr. Miller, the clerk has put you in a position where you can communicate with the committee, and so I'll let you take Commissioner Burroughs' question.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I don't believe, and I don't have my engineers here, but I think that the retention pond or retention area is off to the west of the property. It's in the southwest corner of the property. And that's because that's where the water naturally runs that way. So it really doesn't run over to the building, to the fire station, old fire station house. So my belief is that there is a retention area, but it's the very southwest part of the development. And and the other thing that I just wanted to say is that having this whole, we originally were just wanted part of that, just enough to get through, to cut through, which made it difficult for us to align with Matney. By getting this, the whole lot, we can get aligned now with Matney on 51st Street without disrupting any parking lots or anything that might be utilized by the fire station. And so, like I said, originally we were just wanted to cut through where the old tower, the water tower was. But this actually enhances that project and the access and the having some place, a community center or something there to support the community, I think is a really good utilization of that building. So does that answer the question?
Mr. Chairman, may I ask another question?
Absolutely, Commissioner Burroughs.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, are you talking about the road that comes, Matney is to the east of 2416, and we're looking at 51st Street. Are you coming in on the north side of the 2416 building?
No, actually I'm sorry. Yes, we are. We would it cuts through from Gibbs, and I'm sorry I don't have the plat that we got approved. But it comes down and cuts through, kind of makes a U, I don't know, kind of a U shape and cuts down to Gibbs. So that's going to be the east exit, and then there'll be another exit up on Gibbs, or entrance point up on Gibbs, and one off of, through the 2416 lot.
Okay. Mr. Miller, thank you for expressing that, because I'm looking at 2416 and I see the fire station presently as it's sitting. And if you should come straight on west off of Matney through 2416 into your development, the question I would have is, if you're going to turn 2416 to vacate a fire station into a community center, now you've divided a parking lot and made a smaller parking structure. Unless you utilize the north side of the lot that you cut off as additional parking, then people will have to walk across the street. That's what I was just trying to visualize and verbalize to you in reference to how you were planning on utilizing 2416.
Well, and the idea is here that the community center would be there to support the 32 units, the residents. So, we're not really anticipating the need for a lot of parking there, because, it's, of course, it's a seniors, but, as a senior myself, I think I could, maybe hoof it there to go over to a meeting or do something of that, and in that building. I don't think, I don't know how many parking spots will be taken out, but and one of it doesn't just cut straight in. It kind of loops down, or so there'll be a small turn in it, a curved entrance. So it's not just going to come straight through. It would have to curve down from the new road would have to curve down to meet Matney. So it's not going to be straight in, because that would cut through one of the lots. So I wish I had the plat so you could see, but it does need to be brought down to that area. So we're really not going to cut out a lot of that parking area, and probably can put more parking on the northwest side of the building if that needs to be need be for that. I see, there's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 spots there we can get in. I don't know, but that should be plenty to support the community center.
And Mr. Miller, if I may, I am looking at the plat, and the workstation that's in front of your proposed development. And committee, this is the footprint of the old Tower Lanes bowling alley that used to exist there, if I'm correct, Mr. Miller.
That is correct, yeah.
And I would just ask staff, maybe Judd or Catherine, to advise me as to where that retention pond was proposed. I thought it was proposed behind the fire stations. Mr. Miller says it's to the west in the little extended arm of the lot. Then that's one thing. It's away from the roadway. But I was to understand that the retention pond initially, as proposed, was over behind the fire station area, back in that, I would call it the southeast corner. But other than that, thank you, Mr. Miller, for the questions. Mr. Chairman, committee, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burroughs. Judd or Catherine, could we get some clarity on the location of that pond?
I can attempt to bring it up. I know it was approved at the commission meeting, just the last commission meeting. So
okay,
work on
well, let me extend a question that Commissioner Burroughs had, because like him, I'm having a hard time visualizing how we're going to split or bisect or pass through 2416. If the entrance is going to be directly west and a westward extension of Matney, then that cuts right through 2416. How do we break that lot to accomplish this?
A little clarity, when you say how do you break that lot, I mean, they would take the entirety of that parcel.
They would take the entirety of the parcel, including the structure,
Correct.
and be responsible for the ongoing maintenance of that structure.
Correct, as a community center for their senior living project.
And so then the westward extension of Matney, which would be a pass-through, could have a parking lot on the north side of it. And since they own everything, then they have access across that pass-through.
Correct.
Okay. That is different than I was imagining. Thank you for that clarification. Commissioner Stites.
Stites District 7. Yeah, I've got the same question there as Commissioner McKiernan, because what I was hearing just a little bit ago is it sounded like the road adjoining coming straight west Matney that they were talking about, and then it not directly lining up with Matney. So is that a full intersection there? Or I mean, I guess it would be does it directly line up with Matney? If you pulled out of that lot 2416, could you continue east down Matney?
That was the request by Public Works, was that those be directly aligned.
And I agree. I think it should be and not have an offset there. But I do, if you just take your little cursor there and go straight across, it does leave a very small portion of 2416 to the north of Matney, west of 51st Street. And that plan there would be that parking would go in there. Is that correct?
I would defer to Mr. Miller. I'm still trying to pull up the plat.
And originally, we were just asking for the north part of 2416 to cut through. And so that was our original plan, was just to cut through, maybe have an offset there, which was not ideal. We realized that. And so again, we need to create a small curve in that to get it to align, but it can align. And the north part of that lot will, and just from my personal preference, would not be, since it's a kind of a curve, would not be a parking lot, but would be more of a green space with maybe a monument sign for the development or something like that, rather than putting more parking there. The development is going to have plenty of parking, covered garage. And the one thing I would point out also on what the plan that's up here, the 2120 or 5125, which is the lot next door with the house you see there, that's part of the development also. The developer owns that lot. So that's why that detention area is put down on the, and if you look at the plan, you'll see that there's no structures down on that southwest corner. So that is the detention area. We're moving all the water off the area to there, and then sending it to a storm sewer off of Gibbs. So it's quite a bit of engineering to get that to keep from going into everybody's basements along there, where it's going right now. But you know, that's the plan, is that all the water is going to move to that southwest corner. We have, you know, I haven't talked to the engineers about lining that street up, but you know, that is not going to be a problem to do that. It's going to make a kind of a little curve in there, but you know, that's probably be better than, you know, more attractive than just a straight line shot. So if there's more parking that needs to be there, that you know, we can put the parking there. Since this is a fire station, it's going to have area to park. You know, there should be plenty of area to park with the building without that tower, where what I call it the tower area. That's where that was the part we originally were looking for, so it should align, and we should have plenty of parking for that facility. Like I say, it's not going to be an intense use facility, but you know, maybe some, you know, community meeting, or you know, 5-10 people. I just don't see it as a real, you know, intense community. It's just for the senior living facility. So I just can't envision it being overly crowded.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate that. Ms. Carter, would it be safe to say that the final configuration of this will be subject to approval by planning and by Public Works?
I would believe so. I'm not sure about planning, but certainly I think Public Works would be involved in ensuring that this meets their standards.
Very good. I'll recognize Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. Just for clarity's sake, I'm just trying to follow this along. The land bank request is for 2416, and I do see a shadow. That whole area is not consumed by the old fire station, is it? There's just a part of it that's on that property.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, and then what currently and who owns the plot to the west that one marked as 5115?
That's the location of the senior living, the proposed senior living plan.
Okay, and is that property already under the ownership of the applicant?
Correct.
Okay, just to make sure. All right, that's all I needed to clarify. Thank you.
Commissioner Burroughs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One last bite at the apple here. And Mr. Miller, thank you for your patience with me. I just want to ensure that you will be building a road, not using the paved structure there to cut across and go into the addition. It will be a paved road with quite possibly a pedestrian crosswalk in the middle of it or something like that.
That's correct. It will be a road, you know, built to it'll be a private road. I think it's going to be a private road. I don't think the city's requiring us to dedicate it, but you know, it's going to be built up to up to code, and make sure that it's, you know, there's plenty of room to get in there. So yeah, it's going to be an actual road built according to the city codes, and you know, make sure that we have access, pretend, you know, the appropriate access, and yes, it is.
And I understand that. Thank you for that answer. I just know that I don't believe there's any sidewalks along that area. Of course, there's it's a lot of parking lot through there. But I just wanted to ensure, if we're going to have seniors and people visiting, that if they're going to walk, as you stated, to walk over to the clubhouse, that they would have either a crosswalk safety feature or a sidewalk in which to do so, or a walking path, and not have to walk in the street.
I think that's part of the amenities plan, our sidewalks, and you know, especially interior. And again, I don't have a plan sitting in front of me, but I think that's part of an amenity, having walking trails in there, making sure that it's, you're able to walk in that area. So I guess there should be no problem with accessing that area.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll recognize Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, this question is for Mr. Miller as well. I guess, well, two questions. One, could you kind of just tell me a little bit about tell everyone about the kind of intention and kind of the vision for this plan and the need? And then second question is, was there any attempt to talk with the neighbors and the community members within that area?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Yes. And the answer to that is yes. This has always been part of the plan that we've submitted for approval. I've had numerous meetings with the neighbors. We discussed this, and and that's why we got a unanimous approval at the Planning Commission and on the consent agenda. We wanted to make sure that got through before we even attempted to get this parcel. Quite frankly, we don't need the parcel if we don't have the development. So that was what was kind of driving us, is get the approval first, get the project approved first, and then obtain this parcel, so that you as commission and the city or the unified government has all that information in hand. So it's there, it's been reviewed by the city, by the planners. Like I say, we got unanimous approval at the commission level. Planning Commission, we got unanimous approval on the consent agenda just a couple of weeks ago. So I've talked to a lot of people. We've had meetings and shared plans with with numerous community groups. Everybody's had emails and plans from me. Now, on the building itself, this was something that when we started this a year and a half ago, we didn't know this was going to be there, but the building, I think, is going to be something that can be something for like a homes association office, an area, a gathering area. That's just kind of my thoughts. And quite frankly, a lot of that's going to be driven by the residents in that area. The people who are going to own those 32 units. What do they want to see it be? I think it's basically what we want. And they may want to have a big meeting room. They may want to have something where they can get together and play cards, whatever. But it's theirs, so they're going to be able to do with it as they please. It's going to be integrated into the project.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Commissioner Davis, did you have any other questions for Mr. Miller or comments about the project?
I do not. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Stites.
Stites, District 7. Mr. Conrad, it sounds like you have done your due diligence. You're marching down the path of exactly what we would expect a developer to do. Reach out to the community groups, reach out to the neighbors, and do your legwork. And it sounds like you've done that, and we appreciate it. And with that being said, I make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner. There is a motion to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
Davis, second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Before we take a vote, I'll ask the clerk, did we receive any correspondence from the public regarding this application?
No comments were received.
Thank you. And then I would ask if there's anyone who is attending the meeting with us tonight who would like to offer public comment on this application. I don't see any hands up. And so with a motion and a second, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Roll call, Stites,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burroughs,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you, committee. That takes us to item number 2C. Mr. Knapp?
Commissioner.
I'm sorry. I skipped over. That's why you were wondering where I was going with that. I completely skipped over. No, it is 2C. That's where we are.
Is it the cabinet shop on 1821?
We have new construction, Jurado Florencio, 1715 New Jersey is on my agenda.
I believe that was a garage, and I was instructed to take that one off.
Ah, okay. So that is another change. So committee, item number 2C has been withdrawn. And so that we will not consider it tonight, which then would take us to do 2D, Mr. Knapp.
So this one is at 1821 North 10th Street to build a cabinet shop and a showroom. This project would meet the zoning for the M3 heavy industrial district. The applicants have been in business for 7 years in Wyandotte County, and they're looking to expand their business and showroom. Staff comments on this one, they're quite long, so bear with me here. Would need a master plan amendment because it's currently in the Northeast Area Master Plan as open space. And then they said this property could be meant to be held for open space as part of the Jersey Creek Park system or the stormwater management efforts in the area. So to address the stormwater management efforts in the area, I did reach out to Public Works and asked them about this parcel. They said they are actively working on an overall stormwater master plan and not able to reference any policy or planned stormwater projects that is using this parcel. So basically they said that this parcel is not in their stormwater plan currently. But Public Works did say if the property would be developed, it would need to be designed to compensate for the stormwater to ensure that the development doesn't negatively affect the upstream or downstream stormwater flows / pass. So to comment about the parks, is it going to be extended as a park? I did reach out to Parks and asked them, do you have any plans for this parcel? And it was, they told me they have no current plans to extend Jersey Creek to include this property. I do have to say this project will require a master plan amendment to change from parks and open space. That will require a public meeting, so this will not be the last public meeting that this project has. Here is the Northeast Area Master Plan for parks and open space. Commissioner, that concludes my presentation on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Does the committee have comments or questions for Mr. Knapp? I'll recognize Commissioner Stites.
Stites, District 7. So a little clarity on the comments. This property could be meant to be held for open space and part of the Jersey Creek Park system. I guess I don't quite understand what that means, because if they're building a cabinet shop inside there, how could it be used for, I guess, unless I'm reading that wrong?
It is in the Northeast Area Master Plan as parks and open space. So that's where that comes from. And to
I got you. Okay, so they're not saying that if it was built, it could be used for something else. I got you. Okay, my bad. I understand now what you're saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or questions from the committee? Commissioner Davis.
I want to do a motion to send back with staff and the Land Bank Advisory Board comments considered, and have this come back next month.
Thank you, Commissioner. And so the objective of sending it back would be to address the concerns?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. I had a little bit different view of that in that with regard to the issue about use of parks and the stormwater concerns, I was pleased to hear that Mr. Knapp had taken the initiative to go to both the departments who have control over those issues and really got negative responses to them. Now, the community may have other concerns about it, but that is exactly what the option agreement process is supposed to ferret out. And if there needs to be more discussion about the construction or where it is, moving this forward would seek to have those questions answered. I'm not sure. In fact, I don't believe that holding it over is going to get that broader input from the community in which this property sits to see if it's consistent with the master plan or if there's some other planning and zoning. But I was personally satisfied that Mr. Knapp had taken the initiative to go with those two other items. So I would like to see it move forward just so these other bigger, broader concerns, if there are any from the general public, could be addressed, and it'll either rise or fall there. I don't know that there's any benefit for it not to be moved on from this point. So.
Thank you, Commissioner. Having heard those comments, I would ask Commissioner Davis if those comments influence his motion at all. And if not, I would ask if there is a second for his motion.
Yeah, I guess this kind of point of order in process here, and maybe Commissioner Townsend could add just some clarity. As if we were to approve this, what would be the process by which those community stakeholders would be able to have their voices heard?
Well, it's my understanding from what Mr. Knapp said, there would be time for input because I think there may need to be an amendment. It may need to go to planning and zoning. So there would be other opportunities for the broader public. Even here, they could raise it. But, you know, this is whether to move forward with the option agreement or not out of this community from the land bank or this committee. And so if we move it forward, you get the opportunity to have those broader segments of the community and other hearings on the same issue debated. If there are concerns, I see Councilor Green nodding her head, so I'm going to rest my comments, and maybe she has further input to that to help answer Commissioner Davis's question.
Yes, this is Wendy Green from Legal. The only thing I would add to that, Commissioner Townsend, is that the next available time for anybody in the community to say anything would be at the commission. If this moves forward, it would go on consent. However, anybody from the public or any of the commissioners could ask for it to be removed from the consent agenda and have discussion on it. So at that time, if someone from the community wanted to have it pulled so that there could be discussion, it could even be at the next commission meeting.
Well, the other question I had too, wasn't there a question about whether or not there needs to be a master plan amendment? So I guess what I'm saying is that just because it moves on out of this committee, that's not the thumbs up on the project ultimately.
Exactly. You are absolutely
so
correct.
there would still be another opportunity at least there as well. So we've already identified 2 additional if it moves out of this committee. You know, this is not a thumbs up certified that the project will indeed happen. But we're saying, we're looking at the preliminary yeses or nos and what's involved to take an empty lot and make it something else profitable. It may rise or it may sink on its particular merits of what it is. But that's the whole point of these option agreement opportunities.
Thank you,
Exactly,
Commissioner. And if I would follow up with Commissioner Davis, I think Commissioner Townsend has outlined here one of the pros of our option process is that even if we were to confer this plot tonight as a function of this committee, then the applicant would still need to go through the formal planning and zoning process, during which the applicant would be compelled to make all sorts of community outreach in regard to the project itself. And so that's one of the reasons that historically we have at least given preliminary approval to to create the option, which then compels the applicant to move through all the rest of the steps if it's going to require planning and zoning approval.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. I withdraw my motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would ask the
Stites District 7 to motion to approve.
Townsend, District 1, second.
There is a motion and a second to approve the option as submitted. Before we take a vote, I'd ask the clerk if there was any public comment received regarding this particular item.
No comments were received.
And is there anyone in attendance who would like to offer public comment on this item? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burroughs,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you, committee. That takes us to item 2E, which is new construction. This is a carryover of an item that this committee considered at our last meeting. Thank you, Mr. Knapp, for putting up the visual on this. At the time of our last meeting, we heard presentations from the two applicants. We were able to ask questions of the two applicants. I've noticed that both applicants are here with us this evening if we need anything more from them. And our resolution at the last meeting was that we were going to allow members of this committee to consider both applications, to gather additional information if necessary, and then to come back tonight with a decision on which of the two applications we were going to take from this particular, for this particular land bank lot. And so what I would ask is if members of this committee have any additional questions, require any additional information about these projects, if they have any input, or if there is a motion regarding these applications. Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. First of all, I'd like to thank both of the applicants for their interest in development in the Northeast Corridor. It is not the most common thing, and it's not very common at all, that we have, I'm not going to use the word competing, but we have a wealth of riches, an embarrassment of riches with this particular lot, that you have two well-known entities who haven't expressed an interest. I would have to say I would be in favor of Thatcher's getting this lot because you have what may very well be, I know it's advertised as such, and I have no reason to contradict that, the oldest African-American continuously owned funeral home in the state of Kansas, who has been at the adjacent corner for 100 years in the family. So to me, they have the most immediate, already vested interest in that area and an opportunity to expand their business. Likewise, you have a very old and respected African-American sorority who I would just pray would still be interested in some vacant lot in our land bank in an area that, I'm going to be looking and scouring too, that would be of interest to them. So we still want them, but as to this particular lot, because of the pre-existing presence of Thatcher's Funeral Home, that would be my motion to grant their option, their request for the land bank option. So thank you very much to both businesses and entities for your interest. And I hope, with respect to the AKA's continued interest, but just in another spot.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have a motion and a second to give the option to the Thatcher project. I will recognize Commissioner Harold Johnson, who was with us at last month's meeting and who has joined us here again this evening, and invite him to offer comments as well.
Thank you, Chair McKiernan. Commissioner Townsend, you've taken the words right out of my mouth, so I'm not, we have a motion in the second. I will say, with regards to the property being allotted to Thatchers, only thing that I would add is I would like to have some timeline set as to how long this would take before we would see groundbreaking for this project. We've been talking about this for many years, and certainly Mr. Davis and I have had several conversations about this. And so I think right now, my main thing is to be able to see something constructive built on that plot of land. And so I would only add that we would put some type of a note in the approval that this is subject to this something being built within a 2-year time frame. And I'll yield to our legal team to be able to provide some guidance in regard to that. But I think 24 months, just based on my background and history, would give the Thatchers enough time to get things in place in order to begin to have something constructive there.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I would ask either Wendy Green or Catherine Carter to offer some feedback on, because usually we have a 12-month option period. Commissioner Johnson is suggesting, I believe, a 24-month option period, given the size of the project. So if either Wendy or Catherine have any thoughts on how we structure that, we'd appreciate them.
This is Wendy from legal. I was just going to say that, yes, that's how we would structure it, I would imagine. And maybe Catherine can say something more specific, but I would say, yes, if we wanted to make sure something was done, it would be within the terms of the option agreement, is we would either have a 12-month or 24-month option agreement. Generally, they are 12-month, but again, it's our own agreement. So if we wanted to modify it to 24 months, we could.
Yeah, this is Catherine Carter. That's exactly right. So yeah, typically we do a 12-month option. We have in previous projects that were fairly large, extended that to a 24-month option. So that would require them to have their building permit and be ready to go within that 24 months, or they would have to come back and explain. Now, another option is doing a shorter one and requesting extensions, which would mean that they would kind of come back before, not probably the entire committee, but come back to staff and kind of give us periodic updates, which we can also work into our schedule with them as well, even if we do the 24-month.
And Chair, I'm sorry if I didn't have my hand raised. That's exactly the reason I thought to offer 24 months, for that very reason that Ms. Carter has identified. And that being that, we have had situations where persons and or communities, corporations, businesses have wanted it to be at a certain time, and then they need an extension. For that reason, that's the reason why I am suggesting we offer 24 months to give, I think, adequate time to do so. And then if not, then it would revert back to the land bank.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Johnson. I'll recognize Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. Don't go anywhere, Commissioner Johnson, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding. When I heard your comments earlier, I was thinking that you were meaning 24 months from now or whenever this is finalized by the full board to a ribbon cutting. Is that what you mean?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I
Okay.
think that would be rather unreasonable considering the size of this. And I apologize if I didn't make it clear. What I meant was that they would begin groundbreaking within 24 months.
Okay, because I could have sworn at one time I thought I heard that maybe they were looking to be complete within a year, but this makes it very clear that you're looking in 24 months to have what again, or to see what?
To have begun groundbreaking within
Okay.
24 months.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
And then I guess I would ask Ms. Green if we need to, as a function of the motion and the second, add the amendment that we're using a 24-month rather than a 12-month option.
I think it would be fine to do it that way. If the commissioners want to make sure that it's the 24-month option, I think as a legal matter, when we structure it, we could do that without that in the motion. But if you wanted a more definite statement, then yes, it could be part of the motion.
I'll ask the maker of the motion. I believe that was Commissioner Townsend, if she would like to include the 24 months as part of the motion.
Yes, I so amend with the clarification of 24 months is to groundbreaking. I think that was Commissioner Johnson's request. So I so amend.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now, I believe it was Commissioner Stites who had the second on this. And do you likewise concur with that amendment?
I do.
Thank you so much. So we have a motion and a second. Before we take a vote, I'd ask the clerk's office, did we receive any correspondence from the public regarding this application?
No correspondence was received.
Thank you. And I'd ask if anyone who's attending in the public would like to make public comment about this particular application. I do see that we have Ms. Elnora Jefferson has her hand raised. So we'll recognize Ms. Jefferson, and then Ms. Norma McKelvey has her hand raised, and she will be next after Ms. Jefferson. Ms. Jefferson, if you would like to please just introduce yourself, city of residency, and then you'll have up to 3 minutes for your comments.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner McKiernan, and the Standing Committee Commission for acknowledging me. Elnora Jefferson, resident of Kansas City, Kansas, and I only have one statement to make, and I have already spoken with Mr. Davis, so this is something that he's aware of. As everyone knows, or nearly everyone knows, we're in the process of planning the Northeast Heritage Trail. And the particular lot at 500 Freeman has some historical significance. And I've emailed that information to him. And so for the record, I'm just wondering if it's proper to put this on the record, that this is a very possible site that would qualify for a marker or some type of dedicated memorial. And if Mr. Davis would speak to his knowledge of that and his intention to accommodate that, provided that it's all done within the proper aspect. You know, have a waving flagpole and that type of thing. But I do believe that that's something that needs to be part of the record.
Thank you, Ms. Jefferson, for putting that on the record. If Mr. Davis does wish to respond to that, he is also present and I can recognize him in a moment. But at the moment, I will recognize Norma McKelvey for public comment. If you would please just give us your name, city of residence, and then you'll have up to 3 minutes for your comments as well.
Hey, my name is Norma McKelvey. I am the board chair of Metropolitan Leadership Institute, and I live in Gladstone, Missouri. I want to have it on record that we believe that we have a very viable plan for community engagement in that area. It's certainly disappointing not to potentially have that go forward, but regardless of the outcome, it is important that the Northeast area be developed. It's important that there be the commitment to the community in that area. And I think that's something that we do and will continue to do, regardless, again, of the outcome. What I also want to convey is that we would be leaning heavily on land bank for property that might be available, because we did submit this application first. We expected it to be considered by itself. We were not knowledgeable of the potential for Thatchers. In fact, we had asked about that. So we just want a good shot at the appropriate piece of property for us if this is not to be. So thank you very much, Commissioner McKiernan.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKelvey. And I would ask Ms. Carter and Mr. Knapp to please make sure that they follow up with Ms. McKelvey and continue to look at possible sites for their development. And now I would recognize Robert Davis. If you would, sir, just give us your name and city of residence. And then I believe you were going to respond to Ms. Jefferson.
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Commissioner. My name is Robert Davis. I'm a resident of Parkville, Missouri, but I'm the current owner and operator of Thatcher's Funeral Home. And so thank you very much, Commissioners, for your support. It's a proud day for me and our family. To answer Ms. Jefferson's direct question, yes, I'm not as familiar with the historic significance of this tract of land, but as a multi-generational community member, understanding tradition and history, I let it be known, and I don't mind it being part of the record, that I would be open to some level of memorialization for this Heritage Trail location. You know, subject to the city's approval, and I'm sure some other hoops we'd have to jump through, but it would be in my spirit to allow a plaque or something like that to, make a historic record of this tract of land. So, and that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. I don't see any other hands up among the attendees. With a motion and a second, I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites?
Aye.
Davis? Commissioner Davis? Townsend?
Aye.
Burroughs?
Aye.
McKiernan?
Aye. And that then takes us to item number 3. We have 2 property transfers to consider. The first one at 1101 Tenney. Mr. Knapp.
So this one is at 1101 Tenney. They currently own 1105 Tenney Avenue. The terrain is very steep, so that's why we labeled this property unbuildable and recommending it for a yard extension.
Thank you, Mr.
Staff comments would be they should make sure the vehicle access is off the alleyways, and we should not allow any curb cuts as part of this project. So we're in support of it.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. I would agree with, I would completely agree that it is unbuildable. The change in elevation from the street to 1105 is remarkable. I would also agree that, from my opinion, vehicle access should be from the alley and only from the alley, and that the curb along 11th Street should not be cut to create a driveway apron. Any other comments or questions from members of the committee? I'd ask the clerk if there were any public comments received regarding this particular application.
No comments were received.
Thank you. I'd ask if anyone who is attending this meeting would like to make public comment regarding this application. Seeing no hands, I would ask the committee if there is a motion. Commissioner Townsend?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1, move to approve the application subject to the staff advisory committee recommendations regarding the alleyway and curb cuts.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
Commissioner Davis, second.
Thank you so much. With a motion and a second, roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burroughs,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you, committee. That takes us to item 3B, the potential for a property transfer at 311 Franklin. Mr. Knapp.
So they're requesting a land bank lot. The applicants are graduates from Cultivate KC and are looking to a location to start their garden. They have already purchased 315 Franklin Avenue, and they're also trying to purchase 3 lots to the west of this location from a private owner. So they're trying to purchase 311. They already own 315. Here's the staff comments were they would need a variance if they want to build any accessory structure on the property. An example for a tool shed. And the Land Bank Advisory Board's comments were how our ongoing maintenance going to be addressed. And this is a buildable lot that a home can be built on. So that concludes my presentation, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. And so ultimately, their objective is to acquire one rectangular property that contains 311, 315, and then the next 3 lots to the west. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll recognize Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Townsend, District 1. Only earlier today did I have the opportunity to speak with one of the, with Miss Darby, who's a supporter of the applicants, and keeping in mind that this is a buildable lot. And I would say that to the west of there, on that corner right there at Springfield, you see some development going on there that was addressed earlier by this committee request for land banks a lot. So I'm encouraged by that development and would like to see continuation of, development of a residential property, ideally for all these land banks. But one of the things that I posed, and I'm asking that this be held over to next month to be fair to the applicants for them to consider, is a possible lease to them of this property, because that would address to some degree the concerns of the advisory committee about capacity for these individuals to maintain the space. I think the concern about ongoing maintenance can be enforced and could be enforced by even a contract that we would let. Since it's land bank property, that can be pulled out for improper maintenance or lack thereof. But I would like to have the applicant have the opportunity to assess this option and then come back for this committee's firm yes or firm no, but to be fair to them, to have the opportunity to assess in their mind the pros and cons. It's not everything they wanted, but it does give them the opportunity for a period of years to see how this would go. It would address the concerns, as I said, about capacity that have been raised. And it also would give them an opportunity to look at other land that may not be buildable for a garden. As this group, as we try to develop, particularly this Northeast end, with homes that will yield revenue and other benefits to the community. So that is my motion and that is my ask, that we just take this item up next month and give the applicant time to consider that proposal.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments or questions or a second from members of the committee?
Commissioner Davis, second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. I do see that Brian Darby of Cultivate KC is here, and I'd ask, assuming that that is the applicant, I'd ask if you'd like to take just a moment to address the committee. If you do, oh, I see we have talking permitted. So if you'd give us name and city of residence, and then you'll have up to 3 minutes to make your public comment regarding this particular application.
Thank you, Commissioner McKiernan and the rest of the committee. My name is Brian Darby. I'm a resident of Kansas City, Missouri, and I am the Executive Director of Cultivate KC. I'm joined tonight by Mediatrice Nyankuru, who is one of the farmer owners of the Congolese Garden LLC, who is requesting this land, and Amanda Lindhall, a KCK resident and a fellow staff member of Cultivate KC. If you're not familiar with us, we operate the farm incubator and training program at Juniper Gardens that is located very near 311 Franklin. Our program typically houses farmers who are engaged in this 4-year training program and farm business incubator, as well as a few of the graduates who have been very successful in building their business in their time with us, but have yet to find land of their own. Over the past 5 years, we've identified a trend, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, but housing is becoming more expensive and less attainable for our farmers. And so they're having a harder time finding land and housing to live in that eastern part of Wyandotte County where they have settled. To date, the farmers that form the Congolese Garden LLC have brought in over $30,000 in income for their respective families. This is a serious business that's bringing in income to these 3 families. We wish that we could continue to host their business on our land, but the time has come for us to invite new participants to the program so that we can continue creating these opportunities. When our staff had the fortune to meet the private landowners of lots 315 through 323, which also do not contain structures, as you know, we had the opportunity to help negotiate the purchase of these properties for the Congolese farm. So as Mr. Knapp mentioned, the Congolese farm has been, they have been able to purchase 315 Franklin and are still in negotiations for 317 through 323. One of the main reasons that we're hoping that they can acquire 311 is that some of those infrastructure needs that are important for a farm business, like water, like a fence to keep the property secure, will be much more easily obtained if there is a rectangle parcel that we're working with. Now, I understand that 311 Franklin, a property that is roughly 50 feet by 100 feet, does not occupy a full lot.
Ma'am, you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. Has been vacant since 2010. It has been identified as a buildable lot. Our organization is in full support of more housing, particularly affordable housing, and in this area, it's a struggle that many of our farmers face. However, we are asking that 311 be granted to the Congolese Farm LLC for the purpose of continuing to grow their farm business and help increase the availability of produce in our community. We feel strongly that access to healthy food is just as important as the need for housing. We also feel that the Congolese Farm LLC and their time with us has demonstrated a history of exemplary land stewardship on the land that we manage and really good business strategy. I have no doubt that these farmers will maintain the property and they'll maximize that growing space without adding structures of any sort.
Thank you so much, Ms. Darby. And if I'm going to use hopefully chair discretion here, since you are the applicant, we can have time for additional conversation here. My apologies for mispronouncing your first name. I see anything that's close to mine and I automatically transfer it into my name. I would ask, so at this point in time, you are still working to acquire the other 3 lots, and Commissioner Townsend has suggested now that you and she engage in a conversation and hold this item for 1 month, have that conversation, and then bring a plan back at our next meeting. Commissioner Townsend, have I captured that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Ms. Darby, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Because that is the motion and the second, and that does look like the path of action this committee will take, which is to get you and Commissioner Townsend together for some discussion and problem solving, and then bring this item back for our next meeting.
No, I have nothing further to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I do see that there is another hand up in the attendees, and I think this would be the farmer themselves, if I remember what Ms. Darby had said. And so it's listed as Amanda and Mediatrice, and I would ask that you just give your name, city of residence, and you'll have up to 3 minutes to make public comment on this application.
Yes, thank you. This is Amanda Lindahl, and I live in Kansas City, Kansas, sitting here with Mediatrice, who is one of the farmers, also a resident of Kansas City, Kansas. And just wanted to add a few further details. Commissioner Townsend was concerned about the farmers being able to manage that size of a property. And I just would like to provide a little bit of evidence that they have all for the past 4 years been farming on roughly 1/8 of an acre each, which would add up to be 3/8, over 1/4 of an acre together. So there are 3 farmers that own that 315 lot, and they have each been able to farm a larger space than we're talking about in this area here. So the 311 they're asking for is 0.1 acre. So they just already have exemplified the ability to farm that size. And as Brian mentioned, they are farm businesses, which are generating income for them as a family, as well as contributing to the local, tax revenue. So I would just strongly urge the commissioners to go ahead and deny the current motion on the table and make a new motion to support the sale of this property to them so that they can continue their farm businesses. So I think they would all consider leasing, but for just the longevity of their farm businesses, it would be very beneficial to have ownership of extended property. So thank you for the opportunity. Do you want to say anything?
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mediatrice. I'm one for 3 member for garden. We wish you guys to help to sell this garden because because you have too many communities, they need some vegetables like in country vegetables because we have we have many communities who need help about the vegetables. So it's why when we ask if you guys can sell us the proper because we need
more space to grow vegetables.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So we have a motion and a second on the table. I ask the maker of the motion and the second if there's any reconsideration. Otherwise, we will vote on that motion and that second. Commissioner Davis.
I'll have Commissioner Townsend go first, and then I'll speak.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this is exactly why I believe another month of consideration is in order. Not only have they owned and worked at 315, but again, that would almost take up half the block if they also obtain these other 3 properties. The tension again that this committee deals with all the time is how to make the best use of vacant land. And what does that mean to the people at the end of the block on the western who are developing? For those also who may not be familiar with this area, you see 3rd Street to the east. And then beyond that, you have quite a bit of land where we have gardening and farming going on through the good graces of the organization that Ms. Darby supports. So we're not saying no, we're saying I think it's in everyone's best interest to take a minute back, consider all these things and bring this back next month, just so they are clear. We are not saying no. My motion is to bring this back next month to allow further discussion, because from what I have heard here tonight, I have even some more questions. So just want clarity. So I stand by the motion that I made earlier.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of clarify my second with that. Thank you all for what you all are doing, just given the fact that there is kind of a lack of healthy options and opportunities to beautify the area, particularly that area of our city. There are many. And so, yeah, this is not a no. This is a, reevaluate. Let's see what works best. We want you all ultimately to be successful as well as the rest of the community. And so I hope that you all hear that and that this is not necessarily a, walk away from the table, but we want to honor the master plan. We want to honor the hard work that folks have put together. And so there probably will be other alternative spaces where something like this would be much better. And so please don't take this motion or anything as a denial. This is a reevaluation. And I'm sure there is somewhere in our community where you all will be able to continue your business. And congratulations on your success. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. There is a motion and a second to hold for 1 month. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Stites,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Townsend,
Aye.
Burroughs,
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye. Thank you, committee. That is the last item on our agenda. This meeting is adjourned. Our special meeting that the administrator called for this evening will begin in 10 minutes. So it looks like we're looking at 7. Anyway, the next meeting will begin in 10 minutes. And for the commissioners who are already logged on for the committee meeting, you can simply stay logged on. Just shut off your camera and your microphone. That same log on will get you into the special meeting. So we are adjourned and the special meeting will begin in 10 minutes.